businesses.
And if there was influence
let me
peddling,
ask you a question. What business was Hunter Biden in?
we heard explicitly from Mr. Biden. We heard explicitly from Mr. Biden about his extensive business record and his experience on boards. We heard about that.
Time's
Mr.
expired.
Kushner, on the other hand,
Chair now recognizes
billion
Mr. Fallon for 5 minutes.
Mr. Chair,
That's a shame.
before I start my questions, I'd like to enter into the record, submit to the record an article from the Kyiv Post, and then a second article from the Kyiv Post entitled "Prosecutor General Shokin Resigns," and it's updated. If I get another interruption.
Without objection to order.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I sat in on the entire 7+ hour deposition that Hunter Biden gave to this committee, and one of the things that stood out to me was his assertions with a rather braggadocious flair of his business experience and his acumen and his impeccable qualifications. He claimed with quite some vigor, I might add, that he was a brilliant, accomplished, and highly sought-after business commodity. He's very successful, and he had an unparalleled resume that he recited to us chapter and verse to prove it. That was at least the face his lawyers, this administration, and the House Democrats wanted him to wear. Of course, there's another possibility, one that this pesky little thing we call reality, that he was a spoiled, entitled East Coast patrician with a senator and then VP daddy who squandered his many life advantages and spiraled into a decadent behavioral pattern of narcissistic excess and criminal addiction. And to feed his very large carnal appetites, he acted as his family's bagman in an influence peddling and access selling scheme that netted the Biden tribe over $24 million in illicit foreign cash. Lots of money, little effort, in a get-rich-quick scheme. If he was such a skilled and gifted businessman as he claimed, his services would be sought after, in fact, even fought over. Mr. Bobulinski, to your knowledge, how many Fortune 500 companies retained Hunter Biden on their board of directors?
Now or in his...
Ever.
I can't confirm any.
Yeah, because there aren't any. Zero. How about how many energy companies retained Hunter Biden? I'm sorry, how many American energy companies retained Hunter Biden on their boards of directors?
Zero.
Zero, nada, correct. There was one energy company that retained him on their board of directors. Do you know what that name of that company was?
Yes, Burisma.
Burisma, correct. Where's Burisma located?
Ukraine.
Really? That's interesting because, and he was hired actually for no small sum, $1 million a year. Hunter Biden said in his deposition he could bring, and Mr. Chairman, I apologize for laughing, but he said his corporate governance to the table. He brought something far more valuable than his corporate governance. He brought, in his fictitious business acumen, he brought his daddy with him. You see, Joe Biden just happened to have been given the country of Ukraine in his portfolio of responsibility to oversee by the Obama administration. So let's go over some facts, Mr. Chairman. Fact, Burisma and CEO Mykola Zlochevsky had been investigated for corruption. Fact, in September 2015, then U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine Jeffrey Pyatt specifically mentioned Burisma as a corrupt entity. Fact, Burisma was paying the son of the Vice President of these United States $1 million a year to serve on their board. Fact, December 2015, Joe Biden visits Ukraine, demands Viktor Shokin, the Prosecutor General of Ukraine, who's investigating Burisma, his son's boss, be fired. Fact, February 2nd, 2016, Kyiv Post reports Viktor Shokin won a court order to seize assets of Burisma CEO Mykola Zlochevsky. 2 weeks later, fact, Shokin resigns. President Poroshenko called on him to resign. He resigned. He essentially was fired at the behest of Joe Biden. Fact, 2016, February, 2 weeks later, there's a little email sent from Vadim Pozarsky, COO of Burisma. He's an executive of Burisma. And to Hunter Biden, asking him, hey, Hunter, will you help us out? We want to get the embassy, the U.S. Embassy in Ukraine to say that we're a good company. Now, the ambassador just said they were corrupt a few months prior to that. And then, lo and behold, with the seal of the United States Embassy, they say that we have no negative information or feelings about Burisma. So what changed in those 6 months? It was magic. The power of the vice president's visit when he demands that his son's boss, the prosecutor who's investigating his son's boss, be fired, and he's going to withhold $1 billion worth of aid, actually, it's I think loan guarantees, if Shokin's not fired. And then Shokin is fired. The embassy says that Burisma is a great company, our Democratic colleagues would have us believe, Mr. Chairman, that that was all magic, that there was no coincidence here. And with that, I yield the balance of my time to Mr. Jordan.
I